Are you afraid?
I used to hate waiting for the last train. Not because I was afraid, just impatient. After a late shift, all I wanted was my bed. This particular night, it was past 11, and the platform was deserted. Just me, the low hum of the fluorescent lights, and the distant rumble of the city above. The air was cold, damp, smelling like ozone and old concrete. It had been raining since dusk, a relentless, cold downpour that had soaked the streets and made the subway feel even more like a forgotten underground bunker. The station office, usually a beacon of sorts, was dark tonight, the booth empty. Not even a cleaner was around. I checked the digital display. Last train, 11:58 p.m. It read, then, next train in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Enough time to get restless, to notice the quiet, to feel the chill seeping into my bones despite my coat. That's when I saw it. At the very far end of the platform, almost blending into the shadows by the tunnel entrance, a figure stood. Tall, unnaturally slender, completely draped in what looked like heavy dark fabric. A stiff, old transit worker's uniform, perhaps. It wore a cap, pulled low, so its face was completely obscured by shadow. Only a narrow strip of grayish-white, papery skin was visible, where its chin should have been, leading down to a long, unnaturally distended neck, covered in numerous small folds and creases. It was too far to make out any detail, but something about its stillness was off. I looked away, back at the tracks. Figured it was just another late-night commuter, maybe waiting on a different line, but the platform was a dead end for this particular route. It was the only track. My rational mind tried to make sense of it, but I kept feeling its presence, like a cold spot in the air, even when I wasn't looking. A strange, prickling sensation on my neck. I adjusted my messenger bag, pulling it tighter against my side. A minute later, I glanced back. It hadn't moved, not an inch. Still standing there, like a forgotten statue. The heavy fabric of its uniform seemed to absorb what little light the distant fluorescence offered, making it a darker void against the already dim background. 6 minutes. I pulled out my phone, thinking I'd scroll through some news, but the signal was patchy, and the battery was low. I tucked it back into my pocket, then looked down the platform again. Still there, unmoving. I started to wonder if it was a transit worker, maybe on break, but they never just stood like that. Not here, not in the dead of night, not without a light or a tool bag. And its hands. I hadn't noticed them before. Long-fingered, bony, the same papery grayish white as its chin. They hung perfectly still at its sides, not clasped, not in pockets, just there. I couldn't shake the feeling that I shouldn't stare. Not for too long. It was an instinct, a whisper in the back of my mind, a primal aversion to something fundamentally wrong. I tried to focus on the tracks, the faint, metallic smell that indicated a train might actually be approaching. Any distraction, anything to keep my gaze from drifting back to that still, dark form. But the feeling only intensified. I risked another glance. It was closer, much closer. It hadn't walked. I would have heard footsteps on the concrete. It had simply sagged a bend. It had sagged and moved. My heart hammered. I forced myself to look away again, to stare intently at my own reflection in a polished metal plate on the wall. Anything but the figure. Don't look at it. Don't engage. Then, a distant rumble growing louder. A light, faint at first, pierced the darkness of the tunnel. The train. Thank God. My ride, my escape. I couldn't help it. I looked. It was right there, just a few yards away, close enough that I could see the thick, dark weave of the fabric, the subtle shift in the shadows under its cap that hinted at an absolute void. And its hands, those long, bony fingers, were twitching now, faintly, almost imperceptibly. I finally saw it. Not its face, never its face, but the way its chin seemed to stretch, its neck contorted, revealing a multitude of tiny, almost imperceptible creases in the papery skin, like something struggling to unfurl itself. The train screeched into the station, a deafening roar of metal on metal, a blast of wind, and a blinding flash of light. It drowned out everything, including the silent dread that had coiled around me. I scrambled onto the train, not caring where it was going, just needing to be off that platform. I didn't look back until the doors hissed shut. The platform was empty. Absolutely, completely empty. I survived that night, but the memory, the cold dread, has never left me. I learned a rule that night, a fundamental one. When you're alone on a deserted platform, or any isolated place, and you see something that just stands there, watching, unmoving, don't look at it for too long. Don't let your eyes linger. Don't give it your attention. Because some things feed on being seen. And once they know you've noticed them, they don't stop moving. Not until they're right there.